A ravishing Rabona from LAMELA gave Spurs the leads, but a shortly followed Odegaard equaliser and a ruthless Lacazette penalty ensured all 3 points went to the Reds of North London. Hey guys, I'm JT. Strap yourselves in and get that popcorn at the ready, because we're going to be going through that North London derby. Well, what a game. It was just about as crazy as any North London derby would be. The North London derby, I've got to say, it is one of the most intense games in English football. Passion, rivalry, bragging rights, hatred, fury, venom. Everything was on show today, as much as it can be without fans inside the stadium. That game, I've grown up in North London my entire life, and I'll tell you one thing. Even though I don't support either of the teams, that game is honestly one of the most exciting games to watch for me, as a neutral. Like, the hatred between the two clubs is genuinely massive. The entirety of London shuts down. Like, you've got a lot of clubs in London, like loads of them. And there's loads of little rivalries in there. You've got your Chelsea, Tottenham, you've got your Chelsea, Palace, you've got all these kind of little things. Chelsea, Fulham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Arsenal, Fulham, these kind of little rivalries. But when it comes to the two dons of North London, you've got the Arsenal, you've got the Tottenham. There's no game bigger in London. I'm telling you, the whole place shuts down for a day. The Tube, good night, son. If you're trying to get that Tube into Central, you've got work, you've got shopping to do. Good night, mate. That is not happening, I'll tell you that much. You are getting swarmed by these fans, and it's just such a brilliant occasion to be part of. Today was no exception of that. What a game. It had red cards, it had controversy, it had equalisers, it had injuries, it had everything that you could think of that would make a North London derby special. If the fans were there, oh my god, it would have been an absolute firecracker. So the game really kicked into life in the 19th minute when Heung-min Son came off with an injured hamstring. An injury which was distastefully celebrated by a lot of Arsenal fans, in my opinion. Should never be celebrating another player. I don't care if they play for your rival, I don't care what they are. Never celebrate an injury in another man. You never like to see it in football. I only played at a Sunday League level, and I know how bad these injuries can get, how much pain and damage they can inflict on you, mentally as well as physically. Don't like to see that, especially with a top player like Son. Can only wish him the best in his recovery. But anyway, this is where it came into action, because who did he come off for? He came off for the main man, Eric Lamela. Now look, if it wasn't for him coming off, they wouldn't have equalised the first goal. So they celebrated like hell when Son came off, but it ended up being their demise, because Eric Lamela, only 10-15 minutes later, scores one of the greatest North London derby goals I have ever seen. Lamela had to think so quick on his feet here, because the ball's whipped in with pace by Reggie onto Mora. Lamela angles for the run for the through ball. Mora doesn't do that. He cuts it straight back to him. So he has to instantly halt his run, come back on minimal balance here because his legs are very close together, quickly whip his left foot around it, so minimal dip on it, and he absolutely fizzes it. Great curl through the defender's legs into the bottom corner. Literally perfect placement. You couldn't have angled it better, even if he was striking it normally. What a goal, because doing that normally would require great levels of skill, but such quick thinking to change his mind and change his plan in that split second and whip it. That is what a true professional is. That is what a true baller does. And I'm going to be honest, this guy, he scores Rabonas for fun, doesn't he? I forget who he did it against 3-4 years ago when he whipped one top bins with a Rabona. But he is Mr. Rabona, this guy. Absolutely class. The game didn't end too well for him. I'll get into that part later. But let's just say the guy's a bit... he wears his heart on his sleeve, shall we say. And the way he celebrated that goal really showed it. And for the guy, what a goal. What a class goal. That goal did kind of come a slight bit against the run of play, because Arsenal generally were the better team in that first half. And as soon as it went in, they really started piling the pressure on Spurs, hitting the post straight after with Cedric. He's getting harried a bit behind him, absolutely whizzes through it, smacks off the outside of the post. Then the telltale times were really starting then. And then a couple minutes after that, the ball's whipped back. Odegaard flicks it, gets a slight deflection on it through the legs, goes to bottom right corner. Keeper can't do anything about it because of the last second deflection. 1-1. Not the prettiest goal, but still very nice positioning. Great cutback, great finish. and Arsenal are back level in the game. Suffering such a late equaliser like that into the first half, it could really do things to teams, and you're sat there thinking, how are Tottenham going to respond to this? They got themselves ahead, they just get pegged back, and it's going into half-time. Are they going to come back firing in the second half, or is it going to defeat them? And you can't forget, look, going to the Emirates, those players must have been mentally scarred, because how many times do they go to the Emirates and get turned over? I think they've only won there once, to my knowledge. I happened to be at that game. It was a League Cup game, funnily enough. 2-0, in fact. I think Dele Alli scored a couple. Harry Kane with a great assist. But generally going there, they have had a bit of a mental scarring in the past from going ahead even. Like last year, they went ahead, a couple of early goals, ended up getting pegged back to 2-2. They just can't seem to really do it at the Emirates. How would they respond? And the answer was not very well. 19 minutes into the second half. What a piece of play by Pepe. Honestly, this guy, everyone slates him for some reason. I mean, it's got to come with the price tag, the 72 million. But I've said it before, I'll say it again. In my opinion, Nicolas Pepe is Arsenal's best player. You can say Saka's great, he's phenomenal. You can say Aubameyang, you can say Lacazette. For me, Nicolas Pepe, the things he can do with the ball, he is so underrated in my opinion. Again, the ball comes back, he quickly jumps up, great touch, because the ball's whizzed through. I don't know if it's the keeper or the defender that's cleared it, trying to pass it to someone. He jumps up, intercepts it perfectly, and then within an instant just absolutely whips the ball. So much pace. So when you kick it with that much pace, your accuracy has to be impeccable. Straight into the path of Lacazette, plays him through beautifully. Lacazette absolutely air rolls the shot, completely spaffs it, spoons it wide. Davinson Sanchez does not see this coming. He quickly decides to rush in with a rash challenge, should I say, before realising what Lacazette's actually done with the ball. Cleans him out unnecessarily, and you got an Arsenal penalty. Shouldn't have really been a penalty. He should have seen the fact that it wasn't going to cause any problem because he's completely ballooned the shot. But he didn't think about that. He just went in balls first for the challenge and ended up giving away a stupid, needless penalty. Lacazette is an ice-cold killer. For whatever you say about him in front of goal, this or that, he is ruthless. He has got precision. He's got ice running through his veins. Beautiful finish into the bottom right corner. Perfect penalty by all accounts. Arsenal 2-1 in the lead. I don't know what he says in the camera. He goes up, he starts screaming something in the camera. Gonna need a little slow-mo action on that, but you could see the passions were running high. You could see that goal really meant something to him. And you know what? After ballooning your shot like that, when you go through on goal, to have the bottle and the balls and the nerve to just stand up and calmly slot that penalty bottom bins, that was honestly a badass moment. That was gangster from him right there. After that moment, you could really see tensions were running high. And tensions ran high for one player in particular, Eric Lamela. Gets an early booking, 69th minute or something, with a challenge. Bit of a reckless challenge by all accounts. Nothing more than a yellow card. Since then, you could see it. He was really animated. He was really into the game. There were a couple of little niggling things that didn't result in anything. And then the sending off he gets 6 minutes later, I think myself it was a bit harsh. You could say it was malicious intent. Basically what's happening, he's running with the ball and he's gone like that to block the other player off, to block him off with his run, and he's completely bought it. Look, anyone that's played football knows you get this in the face all the time. You get a bit of this, bit of that. That's not enough to go down. He's jumped to the floor like he's been poleaxed there. Kieran Tierney, the player who was, like I say, not enough to go down for me. The guy's put his arm out like that, but it wasn't like a straight bang to the face like that. It was slower. It had a bit of connection on there. Fair enough. It's debatable. In my opinion, I don't think that's enough for a foul. But you could say that's karma for Lamela for what he did in the Man United game, the 6-1, where he completely bought it. Completely bought the headbutt from Martial. Absolutely no contact at all. Got Martial sent off. So you could probably say, you know what, justice has been served there. And things equal them out throughout the season. And that has happened to Lamela. So you know what, I can't really blame Tierney for what he did. Because Alioski, my man Alioski, did a similar thing to Nicolas Pepe, where he buys the foul. And you're going to do anything to win your team an advantage. But generally, for me, I think the sending off was a bit harsh. I don't think that's enough for a second yellow, personally. But That's just my opinion. What did you think? Do you guys think that's enough for a red card? Do you think VAR should have intervened? What do you think of the fixture? What do you think of the result? I'd love to hear your opinions down below. You know, maybe you're a Spurs fan. Maybe you've had a few harrowing experiences going to the Emirates. I know a few Spurs fans that when it comes to going to the Emirates, let's just say they don't have a whole lot of energy. They feel a bit defeated. It comes to the point where I've seen them personally, like my good mate who goes to all the Spurs games home and away. He's telling me throughout the week he's feeling excited. He's feeling like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to smash them. Then it gets to that 1-2 days before when he's getting ready, mentally preparing himself to the trip to the Emirates. And he's like, shit. Shit, this is going to be rough. So maybe you're one of those people. I'd love to hear it down below. But then after that, it really was all-out attack for Tottenham. They knew they had to get an equaliser out of it. Harry Kane suddenly became involved in the game. For the first 75 minutes of the game, he hadn't really been involved at all. In fact, I saw Sky Sports whip out a statistic. He didn't have a single a single touch in the opposition box in that time. 5 minutes later, boom, it was typical Harry Kane. Typical. Doesn't do anything really for the entire game. Pops up in that 80th minute with a header. Beautiful equaliser. You think, okay, that is Harry Kane through and through right there. Just so happened that it was a touch offside. The ball comes in, he's offside, flicks it in. So that's disallowed. And then 5 minutes later, he gets a free kick, edge of the box, 90th minute. Absolutely fizzes it. Perfect pace on it, perfect whip. Ends up getting the wrong side of the post, hits it, bounces out. Very unfortunate for the guy. Would have been a bit harsh on Arsenal, I think, if they were to equalise in that manner. But when you're leaving yourself open at the back like that, and it's coming to the last 5-10 minutes of the game, you can only expect these kind of chances to happen. Overall, I found it very entertaining. I love watching that game. I love watching the North London derby just generally. I think as far as derbies go in the Premier League, like strictly derbies, it is the most entertaining derby I've seen in the past 10 years in the Premier League. There's always goals. There's always action. There's always cards. Like, you can look at the Manchester derby. Look, the past couple of times, it's been a bit placid for me, a bit flat. You know, it's either Man City smacking them up, Man United, I'll say that the last one wasn't really, like when Man United turned up and they got the 2-0. That one, not so much. But generally, there's been quite a few board draws in that time. You either get City turning up, giving them a hiding. You get, recently under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, quite a few Man United upsets. But generally, it doesn't make me feel that, like, edge of my seat action the same way that the North London derby does. There's just something special about that. Maybe that's my bias, living very close to it my entire life, being from North London myself. Maybe that's a bit of a bias in that, but generally I do think it is one of the most exciting games in world football, let alone English football. But that's why I said strictly derby though, because if I'm not talking strictly derbies, then, you know, Leeds versus Man U, nothing comes close to that in world football generally. The hatred, the passion, the excitement, everything like that. But if you're excluding the Leeds Man United game, I'd say this is the next up there for me. And as for the Premier League table, that win puts Arsenal onto 41 points, 5 points above my boys Leeds, and only 4 points behind Tottenham Hotspur, who sit in 7th place. Close to that top 4 position. Do I think they'll make top 4? I don't know. That's down to you guys down below. Do you think Tottenham will have enough to make it into that top 4 position in regards after this result? Do you think Arsenal can maybe sneak their way into Europe? Who do you think will finish above each other? Is the momentum with Arsenal now? Is the momentum with Tottenham? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on that matter. Me, personally, I don't think either of them are going to get... Well, European football, you're talking top 7. So if we're talking top 7, I'd have to say Tottenham will probably edge it into 7th. Tottenham will probably get 7th. And then it's a matter of whether they qualify for the Europa or not. I don't think Arsenal will have what it takes to get above them right now. As for top 4, neither of them are getting that, in my opinion. I think Liverpool will just about sneak in. very close for them. And I think the other 3 will be probably Leicester, Man United and Man City. So I don't think either of them will get in top 4. Top 7, I think Spurs could, if they buck their ideas up, sneak into that 7th spot. But it is very, very tight around there. Maybe Villa, it depends what Villa do with their games in hand, because Villa could cause them a real problem. And I can see it coming down to the last 2 games of the season, neck and neck between Tottenham and Villa. Hey guys, it's been your boy JT. Thank you very much for watching, and if you could do me the honor of leaving me a like, that'd be very much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, give it a little check. You know, you might like the content that you see. And if you do, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more action. And if you don't, hey, I'd appreciate it if you could drop a comment and let me know how I could improve. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.